Welcome to the Raise podcast. I'm Carol Barwick. We're here to raise your confidence and inspire your creativity. Each episode, we will have a different guest who will be discussing our Raise word. The Raise word is a word that will encourage you or empower you and at times inspire you to explore the word a little more for yourself. Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Raise podcast. I'm Carol Barwick. We have had some fantastic guests so far in season 3, but this time we have literally a double whammy. We have 2 people that are literally on the rise at the moment, which is very fitting for our episode, which is going to touch a little bit on the coronation of His Majesty as well. So can I introduce you to pop royalty Gemma and Howard Francis? Good morning.
Hey,
Hello.
morning.
It's a great
Morning.
introduction. I like that.
How are you doing this morning?
We are good. We are
Yeah,
tired.
we're tired, but we're
but
okay.
it's all amazing because we've just had a fantastic 10 days or so. Absolutely brilliant.
Super. All right, we're going to dive into that in just a second. But before we do that, Gemma and then Howard, what does the word rise mean to you?
It really means a lot to us at the moment because we're from the Big Sing and our community choirs. We've been talking a lot about rising together. As we've come out of COVID and a period where we weren't allowed to sing, so much restrictions on us and on our choirs, we have been singing about how we're going to rise together. And we've been doing that for the last couple of years. And we've got a song actually by King and Country featuring Kirk Franklin that says, when we rise, we will rise together. So it's actually been a really important word for us and our choirs, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Rise, you can put that to the individual as well, like in our choirs and who have been through so much.
Yeah.
And they've risen with us.
Yeah.
They've risen in their own individual circumstances to where they're at now, full of confidence and really loving life a lot more just through singing.
Yeah.
Just through singing and finding a family within the choir.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I don't normally do this, but with your permission, I want to just pop something personal into all of that mix because Gemma and I do something called the Lions together. Gemma, you're a fully fledged lion. I was just a little lion cub, a Christian project organization kind of mission to get Christian businesses up and going. And I was part of that and learning how to be a better kind of business woman and owner. But I got long COVID and so I was very, very poorly. But at the graduation, the choir sang together this song that you're talking about. And I think maybe we'd be able to play, I don't know, 5 seconds or so of it. I'll have to check legal stuff. But as your choir sang that, the part of me that, to be honest, had not laid the choir down, but pretty much nailed it into the ground because I just thought, I'm so poorly, I'm never going to be able to get this choir back up and running again. Rose. It absolutely rose as your choir sang. And I think, I don't know if you remember this, Jem, but I remember it was chucking it down with rain outside.
Yeah.
And I came to you and I just said, that song is going to be something to me. And now my own community choir is back. I am managing as best I can, but that song and your determination to get your choir singing again enabled me to rise. So apologies that I've gotten straight to myself at the beginning.
That's fantastic.
But it just seems so pertinent to that whole rising thing. So yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this word. Let's dial back right to the beginning of how this Big Sing started. Take us through a bit of that journey and the beginning of the rise.
Yeah, definitely. So we actually started 12 years ago now.
Wow.
And at the time, we were both professional musicians, and Howard was touring with people like Westlife and Will Young and Blue. And I was singing with London Community Gospel Choir. And so I was on the road all the time with them. It was an amazing job and an amazing opportunity to sing gospel music to people in other countries, other religions. There was no barriers, like music broke through all barriers.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were spreading the word through gospel music. And, you know, we just thought, had a really strong calling one day that we needed to do something for our community, because all we did was we just went home and slept, and then we went off traveling again. So we thought, you know what, we'll just start a choir. And it was only supposed to be a little 6-week project, and it was just something, you know, just to fulfill that calling, really. And so we did it, and we got 45 people through the door, and they performed at their little carnival, and they did amazing. And these were just normal people from the community, never done singing before, really. They just had an urge in them that they wanted to do singing, and it became like a little choir family. And they were telling us stories every week of how they were overcoming depression and isolation and loneliness, and, you know, they were creating new friends. And they came to us at the end of the 6-week project and said, you just can't stop this. You know, we love it so much, and it's done so much for us. And that's when we saw the power of music really for ourselves, because then we saw how music, especially gospel music, was uniting people, uniting the community, and really breaking through in people's lives and making massive changes. And we just knew that, you know, God was giving us something amazing and a special calling. So we just carried it on, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure did. And so from a little town called Witton, which was the first choir, then we went next door to the next town, which was Malden, and started one there. And then that's when it started to spread. You know, from there on, it just the reaction that we've been getting was like, we want a choir in this area and that area, so that's what we did.
And then the parents wanted something for the kids, so we started little sing choirs, and then, you know, the parents with the babies wanted something, so we started tiny sing. And it was just about getting music into all of the community, from the youngest right up to the oldest. And, you know, it all just happened organically, and we were still doing our jobs at this point, still full-time musicians. So, you know, it got to a point where Big Sing was growing so fast, we had to make a decision and a real leap of faith, I guess, as to what we're going to do with this. Were we going to, you know, sacrifice our careers that we absolutely loved and had an amazing time, you know, especially me, or were we going to jump into Big Sing? And so that's when God really tested us and said, what are you going to do? And so we just did the leap of faith.
We sure did. We leapt right into
it. And I gave up my job at LCGC, which was my dream job. And you know, Howard didn't go on tour as much. That was a sacrifice for him. So he could pick and choose. He still does professional. He's still a professional musician.
Still play a lot, but I pick and choose what I do more now than I did before. Plus, you know, I've got my beautiful wife and my family, so I don't want to be away like I was before. I would be away for months, you know. So I've actually turned down jobs, you know, quite recently, just to stay.
And so that we can do Big Sing as well. So then, you know, we did that leap of faith, and that's when God really honoured us, and he grew the Big Sing. We had choirs every night.
Wow.
Across Essex.
How did we do that?
We were really
because we ran it all. It was us. You know, so if there was 5 choirs, we were doing the 5 choirs.
Wow.
So it was amazing, and God really blessed us and really honoured us through that leap of faith.
Wow. So just when you say about, you know, you were being on the road and you were touring and that kind of thing, what kind of things did you notice about the rise of other people and celebrity and stuff like that? Was there anything that you particularly noticed kind of around that meant that people rose quickly or maybe fell?
I mean, obviously we've sung with quite a lot of celebrities. And I think for me, the best experience was when LCGC, we went to Russia, and it was the first time a gospel choir was ever allowed in the country. So we made history, because, you know, singing and choirs, and especially religious choirs, were not allowed in Russia. So that was right at the beginning when we were just got together, and that was a ground-making moment for LCGC, but not only that, but for history, to allow us to actually go into Russia, and we did concerts, and I remember we had to be really security conscious. You know, we weren't just allowed to just go and walk on the streets. We had to make sure that we were being protected, because there was still a little bit of opposition about a gospel choir coming into Russia. But God protected us, and I felt that was a really big rise in, you know, gospel music and breaking through barriers, political barriers, and, you know, just changing a little bit of culture, and we just felt honored to be able to be part of that.
Wow, that is a real rise, isn't it? It's a rise in all kinds of kind of different ways. Howard, did you notice anything with particular groups that you worked with, in like in the way that people interacted, and was there one person that kind of rose above the other, without any names? But
well, you know, in the music industry, it's a very fickle industry anyway, and sometimes it really is about how much money is put into you. Do you know what I mean? And it's not about your faith. Sometimes it's not about that. But I have to say, though, I would say that a lot of the work I got was because of what I offered and how I made their music rise. Even in the spiritual sense, because I'm coming from a gospel background. So what I play is I would say quite spiritual, what I do. You know what I mean? And they don't understand it, but they hear it, they feel it. Do you know what I mean? In the way I play their songs, which elevates them and elevates the music and gives it a special something. You know what I mean? So a lot of the time, a lot of the work I got was because of what I actually brought to it, how I made their music rise in a certain way, in a spiritual aspect, even though they didn't understand it, but they felt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You literally, I don't know, but I'm sure this is the same for you. When I play music, or sing a particular song and the lyrics, you feel your spirit rise, don't you? You feel something within you kind of rising and taking over the song.
Definitely. I mean, it's a spiritual thing. It speaks to a part of you that language can't. You know what I mean? Those notes, those frequencies, you know, the way we're built and the way we receive it, you know, is on a high level. Really is.
Take me back a little bit to kind of earlier on in life. Were there times where you felt that God was calling you to something higher before you kind of had all these careers and things like that?
So before I joined London Community Gospel Choir, I was at university doing a marketing degree, and I just knew that God was calling me to something unusual. And, you know, music had always been a part of my life, but I never saw it as a career.
Right.
I always thought that business was my career, you know, go to uni, get a marketing degree. But I always did music, like music outside of studying was just my life. You know, at church, I was involved in loads of music. I was involved in choirs from the age of 7. So I think going through university in that period when I left uni and just really said to God, right, what is it that you want me to do? And I just felt the calling, being called to music, even though I'd just done a business degree. And it's interesting how God made those two paths cross, because when I left university, that's when I met LCGC, and they said to me, oh, do you want to come and do some work experience for us in the office? And so that's what I did. And that summer after uni, I just went and did work experience for them, setting up their marketing department. And I just thought that was going to be like a little summer job. And before I knew it, they were asking me to join the choir, and it turned into a full-time job. So God really led me into that role. And I knew that was a higher calling than what I had envisioned myself. So yeah, I think from that time in my life, definitely.
Well, for me, it was always music. Know, it was always music. From I can remember, there's nothing that I wanted to do more than music, and my father saw that in me as well, and he went and bought me a piano, which he locked up in the front room, because back in the day, in our
that's sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah. No, because in our culture, the front room the lounge was somewhere you didn't go.
Okay.
You only took visitors there.
Okay.
Who came to the house. So
Right.
he put the piano in there. I know, it's strange, isn't it? So he put the piano in there and I couldn't touch that piano for ages. But like I said, music was always something in me. I never wanted to do anything else. And it all stemmed from London Community Gospel Choir as well, because I was in that when it first started. But leading up to that, I was always playing in church. I had little jobs and stuff like that. Like before, I was doing engineering, actually, diesel engineering.
Cool.
So, because I was really good with my hands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. I did an apprenticeship and that was going fine. But to be honest, music, once that took hold of me, that was always the case. That was always in my soul, in my heart.
Yeah.
And went for it. The doors opened, basically. Yeah.
Can you just take me back though, Howard? So the piano was locked in the room. How, this is important. And I've got it's quite exciting. So the piano was locked in the room. How long was it until you were allowed to play it?
Oh gosh, you're talking about from the time my dad got the piano, a good 6 months or so.
Okay.
And we couldn't go into that room. We just could not go into that room. And it's just a culture thing. It's a culture thing.
Yeah.
How
did that feel? So you knew that there was something there that was about to like set your life on fire, but you couldn't touch
my
it.
gosh. Yeah, and I knew he bought it for me. But he made me wait.
Wow.
So when he used to go out, I should try the door to see if he might have, forgotten to lock it.
Contraband piano playing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it was always locked. He knew what he was doing. So my hunger was like going through the roof, for it, But eventually he opened the door and I went in and I just had a great time in that front room.
No, you see, this just does something, because I said at the top of the episode that I did want to link it a little bit to the coronation. And as a podcast interviewer, you don't want to make a tenuous link, but I was thinking about, Prince Charles, who's now the king, and just that idea of the waiting and knowing that at some point it's going to happen.
Oh, yes,
and now saying about the piano and being locked in that room and that feeling of knowing something's about to happen.
I see your point.
And I wonder how, yes, it was a cultural thing, but I wonder how much your dad knew that you needed that hunger, and that in 6 months it may be, if you'd gone in straight away. How old were you? This isn't.
Oh gosh, I must have been early teens.
Okay. Because I thought if you were a bit younger, you see, when I was young, I had a piano.
Very early teens.
Yeah. One of the first things I did was I drew the notes on the piano. That's not good, is it?
Oh, okay.
I wrote the notes on the piano, but I was little, you see.
All right.
But,
yeah.
It's that kind of respect. All those months of waiting must have built such a respect and a desire.
It sure did. And your point, with Prince Charles, or King Charles, sorry, him waiting patiently for his time to come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, it really does. The two really mesh. Yeah.
And then to go a step further, as Christians, I've often thought about the life of Jesus and how he was just waiting to die. He knew that his ultimate thing was to die, and yet once he died, he was to rise, and that was his big, swan song. And I just find that really exciting. I think people forget that. I think when they see people in high places, they forget the bit in between, the bit where you have to do the graft and take that time to wait and see what's about to happen, to happen next. How cool are Gemma and Howard? It's brilliant to hear how they are rising. If you want to hear their Britain's Got Talent audition, don't forget to listen all the way to the end. And if you like what we do here at the Raise podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on your favourite music platform. Back to the episode. So we're just talking about that expectancy and expectation and waiting and the difficult bit before rising. Gem, can you just take us through the time over COVID? Because that was a time of waiting for you, wasn't it, and the choir?
Yeah, it was a really difficult time, as it was for everyone, but because we were singing with 1,000 people a week before lockdown, and so, you know, overnight it felt like we were just shut down.
Yeah.
Our groups and our choirs just couldn't run, and we was at the top of our game then. You know, had never had so many people singing with us. We'd just moved to the Midlands to expand the choirs up here. And we just felt like it was a massive kick in the teeth. At the beginning, we didn't know how long, no one knew how long lockdown was going to be. We thought it'd be a few weeks, we'd just get through a few weeks. Those weeks turned into months. We tried to get everybody online. The online singing is completely different to being together, hearing each other and having that community. And, you know, the big thing is all about community. It is about singing, it is about achieving amazing things, but in the heart of it, it's about community and bringing people together. And when you're just sat at your computer by yourself, singing to yourself, or see people online, you can't hear them, it was just so tough. But what we learned in that period was that God never left our side. And even we felt like the whole world was ending, we felt like the choirs were nearly ending, because at the beginning we didn't have any government support, so financially we was just by ourselves. And it wasn't until much later, like 6 months down the road, that we actually started getting some grants to help us survive. So we felt like, you know, we was really desperate. We didn't know how we were going to survive, but, you know, God did not let us drown in those waters. He basically provided for us every step of the way. And just as we thought we didn't have enough money to pay that month's bills, somehow some money would come in. And we could tell you month after month how he provided. And it was a time of waiting, of trusting big time. And, you know, I'm not a very patient person. So for me, it was, and for Howard, it was just really tough, because we just wanted everything to be fixed and we wanted to get back, but we couldn't because of, you know, we was in lockdowns. And even when we came out of lockdowns, you know, we still had restrictions. You know, we had to sing 2 meters apart, we had to sing outside, we had to sing with masks. And people didn't want to do that. They just wanted normal life back. And everybody came back straight away because they were scared of coming and singing. The government had told us we couldn't sing for so long. So it really took, you know, we was working really hard, even last year, 2022, rebuilding, working 5 times as hard to get everything back. It wasn't until November last year, really, that we had the numbers back that we did before COVID, like pre-COVID numbers. And that's when God really just, he kept giving us that verse, that everything that has been taken away from you will be restored. I can't remember where it is in the Bible, but that verse it was like his promise to get us through it. And you know, we got to November and I felt like God restored our numbers. But then not only did he restore us our numbers, but then he gave us an amazing opportunity to rise in our and just be able to have more exposure. So we got a call from Britain's Got Talent. And they said, oh, do you want to come on the show? And, you know, we'd only literally just got our numbers back at this point. And I said to Howard, you know, this would be an amazing opportunity just to give us an amazing platform. If we got on TV, just think how many people would see us. So we applied, didn't we? And we went through the journey of Britain's Got Talent, and I feel like God gave us that amazing opportunity. It was like he was saying, look, guys, you've hung on to this promise that I've given you, and now here's your reward. Do you know what I mean? This is. We went on Britain's Got Talent. It was aired a couple of weekends ago, and 5.5 million people saw us on the show, tuned in to watch the show. millions of people have seen us on social media. YouTube has got nearly 500,000 views.
Wow.
I mean, what bigger platform could we have been given to show the Big Sing and what we do? It's been an absolute miracle, and God has turned it around big time.
Yeah. And Howard, am I right in thinking that you worked with Alicia Dixon?
Oh yes. Yes, before Alicia was on TV and being a presenter and stuff, she was in a group called Mystique, which was like a dance R&B garage band, and I was playing keyboards and I was actually the musical director for her.
Wow.
As well, for the band for a little while. So we built a really good relationship from that point of view. And then even after she left the band, I worked with her after that, writing some songs with a guy called DJ Swerve. I know all this stuff is probably going over your head, but so
no, it's cool.
So we definitely over the years knew each other. And what was great is when she saw me, because I wasn't making a big thing of it when we got on the program.
Well, we couldn't tell anyone.
Couldn't tell anyone.
Yeah,
exactly. So, but when she saw me on the program, she said, "Oh, Howard," this was before we went on stage, even.
Yeah.
And she remembered me clearly, which was really, really nice, really, really nice.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that all the newspaper have kind of zoomed in on that aspect of things. You know what I mean? They've really blown it up to be something major when it's, we just knew each other. That's all.
Yeah. I wonder what she thought about seeing you in that context of the choirs, though. That must have been really cool to see you in a different
well,
way.
She's only seen me as a keyboard player behind all these other stars, and here's me now behind a choir, and not even like the kind of choir that she would expect me to be behind, which would be not being funny, but being more of a Caribbean choir or from a black church. You know what I mean? This is just a community choir of normal people, and they are sounding the way they're sounding. And blew her away. Totally blew her away.
Which I think was part of the magic of the whole experience. And I mean, I remember thinking when you all started singing and you were in white, and I was thinking, now that's an interesting choice, because you've got these brilliant black t-shirts. You've got one on today, black t-shirt with a gold on it, and you're all wearing white, and there's not very many of you, and it's really lovely that you've got all your family there, but I'm not sure this is going to showcase the Big Sing. And then from everywhere, these people wearing bright colours, and they did not stop coming. Everyone, I mean, we talk about the word rise, the whole auditorium literally were full of rising big singers. Absolutely incredible TV. Amazing.
Yeah. We were really happy with the impact it made. They really, the power of that.
It was one of those moments, even just for us to see it happen. We knew what we planned it, but just to see them all popping up at certain points in the song and more of them, it was overwhelming for us. Just watching it. So the judges, they were on their feet. They had their mouths open. They absolutely loved it, and I just love that the cameras caught that moment, because it really was like that. It was a really special moment.
It really was.
So do you now get an opportunity to go back? How does it work now?
It's all a wait and see process.
Okay. Wow. We're back to that room, Howard, with the lock.
Back to that room.
Oh no.
The door's locked for now.
For now, you see.
For now.
It's that for now.
For now.
Wow. How exciting. What I'm loving as well is, particularly on social media, seeing your individual choir members and their retelling of what happened, and their journey of the Big Sing and how they felt about it. And I think that is one of the keys to the Big Sing, isn't it? That it is big, it is huge, but actually you care about every single person that goes to the Big Sing, and as much about them as the whole family, which is incredible, because big choirs like that, you can often get lost.
Of course, yes.
We just want to make everyone feel valued, because the choir is for them, and you know, we still hear those same stories that we heard in the beginning days of how people use choir to get through all their the troubles of life. And that's what's important for us. You know, we want to really make sure that we home in on the individuals and make sure that they are getting what they need from the choir, not just music, not just singing, but the community.
Do you have any anonymous stories of someone that you've really seen rise through the Big Sing?
Oh yeah, loads. We've got absolutely loads. I mean, one lady, she lost her son a few years ago. This was before she joined the choir, and he was only young. I think he, you know, late teens. And she found the choir just after that, and she joined just to try and do something to get through her grief. And the choir has helped her through that grief journey. And her confidence was at an all-time low when she joined. You know, she would only just about come to rehearsals. And, you know, she sang up Britain's Got Talent, and her family have told her how the choir has helped her grow in confidence, helped her change, helped her to live life again. And when they came to see her in our Christmas shows, they said to her, "That's it. We can see you again. You're back with us." And so that's been an amazing journey for her. And just hearing that just makes us feel like we've really contributed to helping her through that process, which must have been absolutely horrendous for her. But there's also people that have come through cancer treatments. So they've joined the choir while they're going through treatments, and the doctor have said, "What are you doing? Because whatever you're doing is helping your recovery." And they just say, "We're singing, that's what we're doing." And you know, we've heard that story quite a few times. So there's loads of stories.
Choirs are, I mean, choirs as a whole are on the rise, aren't they? I think for all the damage, and it was untold, that COVID did, it did put a lot of creative things on the rise. People realized that actually they could have a kitchen disco, they could sing their favorite songs on their own, they could join a Zoom call and you know, chat with other people about creative stuff. And I think it did release something in people that, you know, even like the bread making and all that kind of thing, it released something in people where they, I guess maybe they weren't so on show. It was all behind closed doors, wasn't it? And so people were just creative in their own way. What did your, apart from the Big Sing, what kind of things did your family do over lockdown? What did you get up to?
Well, actually, our daughter Evie, she's 17, she got into upcycling, and it would have been something that she'd never had time to do before because we were just too busy. But now she had time. She painted cabinets and all different types of furniture and started selling them.
We all got involved, actually.
We all did.
We all got involved in that. So we'd get the cabinets, look online, and these cabinets didn't look much when we bought them. But by the time we finished the painting, I did my little bit to it. Gemma did her bit to it. And it was beautiful.
We made like cocktail cabinets and you know, all different colours and stuff. And it was just great to have something else to focus on because you know, obviously the choirs, when we were thinking about that all the time, it can kind of make you go a bit panicky about what's
cabin fever. Absolutely.
So it just gave us something else to think about and just distracted us from what was going on. But for Evie as well, because she was doing homeschooling and she was just in her room doing homeschool all the time, and at the time she was working for her GCSEs, so it was quite a lot of pressure for the kids. So it just gave her something to do that wasn't that. You know, it just helped to de-stress and just focus on something else. So that was our little thing, upcycling.
That was good.
That's very cool. We always have a little challenge on the podcast for the listeners. So I think the challenge this time definitely has to be, what is your creative outlet? What do you do to release those feelings of maybe hopelessness or despair or joy? And if you love singing, do you know if there's a Big Sing near you? Have you popped online to have a look? And if the Big Sing aren't near you, is there another choir that you could join? Don't just listen to this podcast and enjoy the brilliantness of Gemma and Howard, have a think about a creative outlet. Gemma, Howard, have you got any advice on how they can get singing or creative?
Yeah, definitely. So definitely join a choir. So if there's a Big Sing near you, go over to our website, big-sing.com, and find out our locations. But even if there isn't a choir,
just
a Big Sing near you, find a choir.
Yeah.
Just go and sing, because singing is so good for you.
It really is.
And there's so many amazing choirs across the country, all different genres of music. And that's the great thing about music. You can just pick what one suits you.
Yeah, so if you're listening, obviously we're going to put all this stuff in the show notes as well. But do get in touch with me or get in touch with Gemma and ask about choirs. And don't be worried about doing it. I don't know about you two, but I always have new people in my community choir. And the first thing they say is, I can't really sing. And then they just stay for years and years and become part of the family, and they can sing and they sound amazing. But it's always that bit, isn't it, where they feel like they've got to confess that they can't sing. Put me at the back. I can't sing. And I'm always say, not bothered. Just
that's right.
Come be part of the family.
The same happens to us. Like people come and they say, "Oh, I've not done any singing. I was chucked out the school choir." We hear that a lot.
Stuff,
but it's the same, you just come and give it a try. You're never going to be made to sing by yourself. You've got the power of community behind you. You're in a group of people, and together we just achieve great things. So just come and be part of it.
And I think also laughter, having fun in the choir,
does
absolutely so much. You achieve more than you think you're achieving just through the laughter. And before you know it, you're singing these harmonies. You know what I mean? That's what we find anyway in our choir. So do it with laughter and fun, and you'll go really far.
Absolutely. Right, you're going to be really busy now. That's it. You're going to have loads of people. Listen, we've nearly come to the end of the podcast, and we've come to the part where I write you a little on-the-spot poem. Now, full disclosure, I've written a little bit already because I couldn't help it, but it's not finished yet. So, I'm just going to take a couple of seconds. Rise, lift your eyes to the skies once more, and soar as before, but this time desire more, aspire more, require more, and look back and notice that some of these words contain the word rise. What can you do? Who are you? On a good day or a bad day, when you feel that you've fallen, take hope, look to the skies, and rise.
Hey.
Yeah.
There you go.
Love it.
When I got to the word fallen, I was thinking, I don't know what to do now.
That's brilliant.
It's great.
Gemma, Howard, it's been fantastic to talk to you. We look forward to seeing the next part of the Britain's Got Talent journey, whether it is just that the choirs grow and grow and grow, and you are known forever as a really inspirational act, or whether you go all the way.
We'll see.
Let's see. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us. Is there anything else that either of you want to say before we finish?
No, we just want to encourage everybody just to, go out there and achieve something great. And, this has been a great chat today. So thank you so much for having us.
And everyone rise. Just
rise.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay.
Thank you.
Seen it all. The tears are falling. Every step is on the edge. So confused, we don't understand. Feels like it's night on end. It's gonna be bright days, bright days. Though it seems distant, know the world will change. Brighter days, oh, brighter days, oh, brighter days, oh, the world
sing.
Running, but now it's time for your